Creating a content strategy without a clear understanding of your audience is a bit like setting a boat adrift without navigational tools. You're out there and you're taking action, but you're not working toward a specific goal. These are the situations that marketers dread. Huge amounts of time and money without a clear potential for good ROI. What certain goals don't articulate though, the truth lying right beneath the surface and driving every content effort is a desire to reach people. Specific people that your brand will resonate with and who will take action to buy, use and promote your products and services. Beginning every campaign with a strong understanding of your audience is one of the best ways to ensure your success. Although, sometimes the most creative part of a film, a carefully crafted budget provides the pivotal roadmap for the entire film project. Whether the film is expected to cost Rs 20,000 or Rs 2 crores, the film budget must present a spending plan for every rupee to be expended on the production. In addition, the budget serves as a guide that the pieces of the film are proportionate to one another. If each cast member receives tens of lakhs of rupees, then the look of the film generally should not have homemade special effects. Audience identification with the characters in a story is fundamental to successful filmmaking. Successful stories subliminally invite audience members to participate mentally with the movie's main characters. In the darkness of the theatre, 95% of our sensory receptions are tuned into the movie's visuals and sound. We find ourselves in the story and help the characters make decisions, rooting for them when they make the right decision and cringing when they don't. We get emotionally involved. We identify, and like Mia Farrow's character in the Woody Allen's The Purple Rose of Cairo, and we want to get up on the screen, be in the story and rub shoulders and barbs with Jeff Daniels' character. There are three ways filmmakers get audiences to connect with the stories. In one word, filmmakers suture the audience into the movie, but they use three different techniques. This consists of employing camera and sound techniques to put the audience physically in the movie. We see things the protagonist sees with POV, point of view shots or over-the-shoulder shots. There are long wide takes to stimulate us being in the room and watching from a distance. Long extreme close-ups, ECU, of a character allow us to ponder a situation or decision along with the character. In some movies, we hear what the character hears, like Mel Gibson's character in What Women Want or Jim Carrey's character in Bruce Almighty. There are also visual and narrative gaps that the audience automatically fill in, as when a character drives across town but we only see him get into and out of his car. While these techniques help connect audiences in an explicit or visual way, they do not get at the heart of why audiences are emotionally engaged. Filmmakers emotionally suture the audience into the story by creating characters and situations that generate sympathy, jeopardy, and relatability. Audiences are drawn to characters that are attractive, characters that are funny, powerful, skilled, beautiful, charming, and hospitable. When we create characters with such attributes, our audience wants to be close to and identify with them. It is purely emotional reaction based on the character's outward appearance and behavior. At the heart of every successful movie is a conflict of values that was universally chosen to be understood by the audience. It is this conflict of values that describes what the movie is really about. The value conflict engages audiences at a value or heart level by allowing the audience to identify with the various characters and helping them decide what moral choices to make. Thus, moral suturing is not a passive experience. but an active decision making and routing experience. Successful morals tutoring occurs easiest with a writing and story structuring technique called the moral premise, which describes the core values around which the story produces conflict. This is because all physical action and conflict begins as physiological decisions derived from the character's moral values. Thus, the moral premise statement MPS is a single sentence or statement that describes the natural consequences of a character choosing a virtue versus a vice as motivation for pursuit of a goal. For instance, many good movies pit the selfishness of the antagonist against the selflessness of a protagonist. Or perhaps the conflict of values is greed versus generosity or prejudice versus respect. One of the biggest mistakes that budding filmmakers make is trying to appeal to everyone. Think about the game of darts. You have to aim in order to hit the board. If you let your darts go without aiming them, you probably won't be very popular. If you hit the board, you score. And if your aim is very good and you hit the bull's eye, even better. If you were building an online presence from scratch today, what 3 things would you consider to provide the biggest ROI on your time and money? The items on his list were focused on the idea of an audience. In terms of ROI, the most important 3 things if you were starting from the beginning are: first, focus on establishing a crystal clear empathy with the audience you are planning to serve, so you know what their problem is, how they feel about it, and what they currently do to try and solve it. The best way to learn this is in person, over the phone, or via monitoring discussions in groups, blog comments, forums, and social media. Once you know your audience, you could craft a clear offer based on the position you want to take within an industry and focus on making sales as soon as possible. If you know blogging and email marketing, that offer could be reflected in the new blog and newsletter option form you could set up, as well as the email sequence and blog posts that follow. Assuming you have done these tests and you know you have a target audience, your focus is simple: improve traffic and conversion. You expand what is already working, add more traffic sources, make more offers with third-party vendors and distributors, and run split tests to improve results. There are basically 3 people that fit into your production's target audience: the person that will pay you, the person that influences, the person that pays you, your supporter. Once you know what motivates your target audience, it's time to formulate ways to help them achieve their goals, thus helping yourselves achieve your own goals. You can do this on your own, but another way to find opportunities is to go to your target audience and have a conversation with them. Influencers include any person that holds another person's attention in some way. It might be a business partner, it might be an industry writer or an industry speaker. It could be a mentor, client, or vendor. These people hold attention and influence the decisions that your number 1 target audience makes. And that's why you need to pay attention to the influencers. If you can earn their trust, their approval, then you can win them over and they can influence the person that will pay you. Finally, we have to remember your support team. These are the people that support you in your effort to move through your professional plan to achieve your brand vision. Supporters can include family members, friends, colleagues, co-workers, mentors, and anybody that can offer support as you work your way to your vision. The team is important because you can believe in yourself, but it's good to have people providing reassurance when you get frustrated. It's good to have people there to tell you the truth if they see something in your effort that they feel could be better. You're only one person, and without supporters, you won't have all the tools necessary to achieve your goals. The budget process runs from inception of the project through the completion of the finished negative. Neither the prints used to show the film theatrically nor the advertising and promotional budgets are included in the budget numbers used for production. For studio films, prints and advertising often equals the cost of the film production, and for an expensive film may greatly exceed the cost. The budget will be dictated by choices that may change dramatically depending on locations and prominence of cast, stunts, and the effects needed both during and after principal photography. For independent and guerrilla filmmaking, the key is to identify and cornerstone elements of the film and build the budget around those items. If a particular location must be used to tell the story, a particular cast member becomes essential to the financing, or a special effect defines the story, then that element should be identified and its cost determined. Thereafter, the remainder of the budget can be structured to keep the production in harmony with that item. For the first time filmmaker doing a weekend shot, you want to work backwards from what you can afford to what you will spend it on. A one weekend shot with a small crew of friends and actors working for free should cost you under rupees 20,000 unless you have to buy equipment as part of the expense. The major expense will probably be feeding everyone. It will probably cost more than you would first guess, but don't scrimp on food. One of the oldest truisms of filmmaking is that if your crew and cast are well fed, they will follow you almost anywhere. If you don't have equipment, camera, lights, microphone, etc., then you could be looking at a lot more money. To keep equipment expenses down, try the following in this order. Find or make a friend who just bought a fancy new camera and would love to have a reason to use it. Remember that filmmaking is a collaborative art and you will need filmmaking friends to succeed. Find a rental house that can rent you a basic video package for the weekend for a very cheap rate. Be warned that professional rental houses that rent pro gear to professionals will probably want proof that you have special film production insurance, which might cost more than the cost of the equipment. A good microphone, mixer and boom plus a few good basic lights can set you back more than the cost of a decent camera. If you have got a great script, the talent and knowledge, nothing should stop you from making your film. Money is actually one of the easiest components to find, much easier than finding the great screenplay. Think small. Making a truly great shot could just get you a festival prize, which could lead to getting noticed, which could get you 1 million downloads of your film on the internet, which could get you really noticed, which could make you famous. If you're famous, it's much easier to raise money. Go after small amounts of money. If you need rupees 5 lakhs, it's much better to get 50 people to put up 10,000 rupees than one person to put up the whole amount. A single investor with that much money into the deal is going to watch your every move and hire people to second guess your every move. Creating your dream is hard enough without that kind of pressure. When you get money from investors, sign a promissory note. Write in the terms for what interest you will pay and that all payments will be from profits on the film. Royalties, profits and residuals come out of income, so these are not included in the budget for a typical film. For independent filmmaking, however, deferred compensation reflecting income earned but not paid to cast, crew or other parties is expenses incurred as part of the negative cost of the picture. These should be included in the budget but separately identified. A rupees 5 lakh film may have a deferred compensation of rupees 3 lakh and cash needs of rupees 2 lakh. Any contracts or other provisions reflecting return to investors would be based on the rupees 5 lakh budget amount rather than the rupees 2 lakh cash needs of the project. So, the budget should make this clear. Structured in this fashion, any additional royalties paid to the deferred income participants reflects the risk of not receiving their 3 lakh rupees in earned income and is therefore much easier for the average investor to respect. Individual state and country legislation enables producers to subsidize spent costs for production. Tax incentives require a producer to hire a certain number of local crew employees, rent from local vendors, and run payroll through local services. Tax credits are based on an application process and are often lengthy, 12 to 18 months, and difficult, tedious paperwork to procure. Certain credits are sellable, transferable, and even tradable based on the local legislation. Story rights. The right to produce a film based on a play, novel, musical, or video game, or as a remake or a sequel can cost anything from a couple of thousand to over $10 million. Example, the video game Halo. Screenplay. An A-list screenwriter may be paid between 1 to 2 million to write a script, including rupees 4 lakh a week for each rewrite of a film in trouble. Script doctors may be called upon to revise the final draft at rupees 1 lakh to 2 lakh a week. Recently, Columbia Pictures has been offering the best screenwriters 2% of the gross profits after the production and marketing budget has been deducted. Producers. Film producers and executive producers are often well paid, with a top producer earning an 8-figure salary up front as well as bonuses and a share of the profits. For Spider-Man 2002, producer Laura Ziskin is estimated to have been paid over $30 million. Director. The DGA minimum is about $16,800 per week for a minimum of 10 weeks work. An A-list film director can command $5 to $10 million per film. Cast. While the bulk of the cast usually gets paid by the Actors Guild standard rate of about $2,300 per week, famous and bankable film stars can demand fees up to $30 million per film, plus perks, trailer, entourage, etc., and possible gross participation. Sometimes an actor will accept a minimal fee in exchange for a more lucrative share of the profits. Union extras are paid around $130 per day plus extra for overtime or if they provide their own wardrobe. But on a low budget film, non-union extras are paid less, sometimes nothing at all. Production cost. The cost of producing the film includes crew wages, production design, live set and studio costs, costumes, catering, accommodation, transportation, travel, hotel, stay, etc. The director of photography is usually the highest paid member of the crew at about $5 lakh to $1 million. Visual effects. The cost of computer generated imagery effects and other visual effect work in post-production depends largely on the amount of work, the desired quality and the effects company involved. Industrial light and magic is the most prestigious and expensive. Extensive effect work as in Avatar or The Lord of the Rings can easily cost up to $1 million. Music. The top film composers can ask for a 7-figure salary to compose an hour or so of an original film score. Eliminate night scenes. Shooting at night requires powerful and expensive lighting and the payment of nighttime rates to the crew. Many directors choose to use the day for night technique. Avoid location filming in famous or commercial areas. Shooting a scene on, for example, the Golden Gate Bridge requires stopping traffic with a resultant drop in revenue to the city of San Francisco. Some producers of low-budget features avoid paying location fees and seek to capture shots by subterfuge. Film action scenes early on Sunday morning. Stopping traffic for a car chase scene is easier in the early hours of Sunday morning, when traffic is at the lightest. Everyone has been in an audience. We all have been part of a group of people who come together to experience music, film, theatre or other live event. In media terms, the audience is any group of people who receive a media text and not just people who are together in the same place. They receive the text via a media carrier such as a newspaper or magazine, television, DVD, radio or the internet. It can also be a mobile phone, iPod or any other device that stores or receives media messages. Audience is a key concept throughout media studies because all media texts are produced with an audience in mind. That is to say, a group of people who will receive the text and make some sort of sense out of it. A well thought out budget is a clear plan for making a film, and a good budget reveals a lot about how a film is going to be made, what kind of stories you'll be telling, what kind of plan you'll use and what sort of equipment you'll select. Thank you.